So I'm walking around here in the back lot, and I came across this awesome car. I really like it. And it would belong to this gentleman right here named Steve. Now, Steve, what can you tell us about it?
Well, this car is actually my great uncle's last car.
It is, wow.
That I have owned for 58 years.
58, wow. Now, what else can you tell us? This is a 58 Cadillac Fleetwood 60 Special. You're, okay, you're Steve from Rochester. What are some of the specs on something like this?
Well, this car has a longer wheelbase than the regular Cadillac by about 3.5 inches. This car was intended for an affluent owner who wanted to drive his own car.
Okay.
The first 60 Special was made in 1938, designed by Bill Mitchell, who was head of the Cadillac studio. And you know, previously Cadillac had catered to obviously affluent owners who had chauffeurs.
Right.
But here was the first time that they went after similar affluent owners and wanted to drive his own car. My great uncle, who was a very conservative individual, he was secretary-treasurer of his family's brewery that started in 1882. And during the 20s and 30s, he was driving Packards, Pierce Arrow kind of vehicles. But finally in 1938, they made a vehicle that was appropriate for him. He waited 2 years. He bought his first one in 1940 for some $2,300. Then he waited till 1946 to get a second one, again, Fleetwood 60 Special. He got another one in 1950. He had a dark blue 1954, which I remember as a kid. Then he got this 1958, and I'm sure in 1962 he was ready to get his sixth one when he unfortunately passed away.
Oh.
He was a bachelor who lived with his older bachelor brother and younger spinster sister. He willed it to her. She thought to herself, what do I want with this monstrosity of a car? And since my father was named after her brother who had passed away, she came to my father and said, wouldn't you like this car? And he said, sure thing. So we've had it for 58 years.
So how many miles are on it?
There's 113,000 miles.
That's
it?
it?
Was used as a real car.
Wow.
For many years. Actually, I drove it when I came to work with GM in 1972. For 2 years, I drove it to the tech center as my car. And then in 1974, I thought, well, maybe I should buy a more current product if I'm going to be an engineer for GM. And as it happened, I bought a 74 Pontiac Grand Prix that turned out to be 11.
Oh.
So the joke was on me. But
it's really nice.
I've kept the car, you know, it sits in my half of the garage, but it gets used as a real car. It's been around the block.
You got it right here on the thing next to a Parade of Progress bus. That's from like the World's Fair, wasn't it?
No, that was,
no?
You know, GM in the 1950s owned the auto industry. They provided more than 50% of the automobiles purchased. So they went around with these free Parade of Progress parades that demonstrated the technology that they were developing, whatnot. They went all over the United States. They had about, I think it was about 15 of these future liners is what they called them. And they had individual displays of the technology and this, that, and the other thing. And this was all free to the public, as were the Motoramas that General Motors did in those days.
Very nice. This is really impressive, and I've been going around, and anytime I see somebody with, I mean, there's a ton of great stuff here.
Oh, yes, there is.
And then I walked by, I was like, that screams it has a story, and I got to talk to whoever it is that's taking care of it. It looks amazing. I really like it. Thank you so much for giving us your time today, and let's see what else we can find down the line.
In the fall of 1957, General Motors was getting prepared to turn 50 years old in 1958. So the Detroit Free Press, let's see, I think it is, put together an article about General Motors being 50 fabulous years. And they went around to each of the divisions and made some pictures. And it so happens that Cadillac provided this shot from Deppie Gardens Park across the river in Canada, looking back at the Detroit skyline with none other than one of their first offline vehicles, a Fleetwood 60 Special. So if this was 1957, I elected, since my car is the same as theirs, I elected to reshoot the shot 50 years later, 40 years later, in 1997.
That's really neat.
On the exact same spot with very similar attire for the two models in the
I
picture.
see that. Are they relatives of yours, or?
Well, it turns out the girl on the left in this lower picture was just my friend at the time, but she turned out to be my second wife.
Oh, nice.
And the other gal in the picture is her twin sister.
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
So if you're a native Detroiter, you can compare the two pictures because they're virtually on the exact same spot.
Yeah.
The things that didn't exist or do exist now, what have you.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, what's that one? Not the. What's it called? The Empire? It's not the Empire. Guardian Building?
Okay, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see that.